What's going on, guys? Kevin here, bringing you a brand new video where today I want to talk about a certain game franchise in particular that I have talked about a number of times, but this time I want to give my opinion on all of the games in this franchise overall, and I'm not really hating on this franchise in particular. I'm just here to say which of these games I like the best and which I like the least. Now I'm going to be looking at the Call of Duty franchise. So we're going to be looking at uh, the best and worst games from worst to best. I think just because why not save the best for last? So here goes nothing. Um, the worst, I would have to say, the worst Call of Duty game to ever be made is probably Call of Duty Infinite Warfare for a number of reasons. For one, the multiplayer is complete ass. I mean, I thought that the fact that they kept the jetpack thing, the jetpack mechanic in was not a good idea, even though they probably couldn't do that much to change it because the game was already in development before the whole "what's we need boots on the ground" movement came back. So, maybe there wasn't a whole lot they could do, but I thought it was like very overtly futuristic, and it was exactly what the community didn't want with the multiplayer. And I never played the campaign, but I can't say much for it. But the zombies, I guess it was all right. I did not enjoy it that much at all, to be honest. But that brings me to a good point because I would have to say Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is either just as bad, if not worse. I mean, I'm not sure. I'd probably like, let's just say Call of Duty Advanced Warfare and Infinite Warfare are equally as bad as each other because they're both not good games at all. But I did hear the Advanced Warfare campaign was good, but I haven't played it. I mean, I'm speaking from the standpoint of I haven't obsessively completed every single aspect of every Call of Duty game, and that includes I haven't played Call of Duty 3, 2, or 1, so that those especially won't be in the list. But yeah, I never played the campaign in Advanced Warfare, but supposedly it's good, so I don't know. The zombies in Advanced Warfare were actually pretty fun to an extent. Not nearly as good as the Treyarch zombies, but they were fun. Even though it had boost jumps, I thought there was some elements that made it interesting. The only thing I didn't like is when it gets into like the DLCs, how you have to like defuse bombs and shit. Like it just gets kind of like over the top with like all the things you have to do just to like progress in rounds rather than just like, killing zombies. Like I love the early maps, but once you get to like DLC 4, it kind of goes downhill in my opinion. So for the next game on the list, I would have to put Call of Duty Ghosts. Now, this is a bad game in some respects, but not a bad game at all in other respects. Multiplayer is really bad. I just don't like it. I think it can't pick a side when it comes to whether it wants to be too futuristic or like modern or like, old fashioned. I feel like it's kind of like stuck in the middle. I don't know. I just don't like it. It has sliding in it in the multiplayer. It's just I don't like the graphical feel of it. But with that being said, the extinction in that game is so fun, so much fun. I really enjoyed that. And I remember I beat Point of Contact, and I still have to play the DLCs, and those look fun as well. Supposedly those are like where it really gets difficult and where it's a lot more intense. So, and people say like compared to like the DLCs, the first map Point of Contact is like nothing compared to the others. So like that must mean that the others are pretty damn good. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Infected in Call of Duty Ghosts is actually really fun. My friends introduced me to it. It is a fun mode. Even though I said the multiplayer isn't that good, it's fun to play with friends. I mean, even though it's just I don't like the style of it, but I guess that there's a differentiation when you're comparing, like custom games to like public match. So it's a little different, I guess. But it's an alright game. But needless to say, it is the third worst Call of Duty. Next on my list I would say it would have to be Modern Warfare 3. This is because I thought the campaign was decent. I did not care for the multiplayer at all, but I did think the campaign really tied off the whole story with Soap and Captain Price. Well, actually, Soap's dead after that. But it told a good story. I mean, contrary to what others think, others thought that the campaign in that was awful. Contrary to what the others think, I thought it was a great campaign. I thought the multiplayer was a bit too different from the previous one with its graphical feel. It felt a bit too polished and new, but that's just me. I don't know. I'm a little partial to Treyarch anyways, so when I see Infinity Ward do that type of thing, I'm a little quick to judge, to say, that's just not for me. But I did enjoy the campaign. I think Infinity Ward made some great Call of Duty campaigns, even though I prefer the Treyarch ones, and I prefer the Treyarch Call of Duties overall. Treyarch, whatever you want to pronounce it. Like, the next Call of Duty. Oh, and Spec Ops missions, I guess they're fun, but I haven't played them a lot. The next Call of Duty that I wanted to go over would have to be Black Ops 3. This one kind of falls in the middle. It's a fun Call of Duty. I got really addicted to it. It's probably the best COD that I'm the best at when it comes to multiplayer. It's really addicting, but with that being said, it's just not as good as the other CODs. But I don't want to say it's bad either. It's like really that middle ground. Like when it comes to the multiplayer, the multiplayer is fun. It was really fun, but a lot of people hated on it. But I thought it was really fun, and that's just what I think. And like the zombies also was really fun. I liked a good amount of the maps, not all of them. I didn't like the Giant. Wasn't a huge fan of Shadows of Evil. I loved Zetsubu Nishimo, loved Rise and Rock. Not a big fan of Revelations, not a big fan of Garage Kirby. So it's kind of mixed. It's kind of mixed when it comes to that. But the zombies, it was still fun. I liked the sliding mechanics and the weapons that got introduced and the super weapons that you could make. Yeah, I guess that made it interesting. And then, well, after that, Black Ops 3 campaign, we won't mention that, but I mean, that could definitely also affect the reason why I put it lower on the list. Now, the next game I would have to say on my list would have to be Modern Warfare 2. Now, a lot of people want to say Modern Warfare 2 is the best COD ever. What are you talking about, Kevin? Like, okay, I think Modern Warfare 2 is the most overrated COD ever to exist. I mean, I think that's what's going to give me the most flack for saying that in this video. I think I'm going to get a lot of flack for that if people see this, but I mean, I really think it is overrated. I just don't get the love for it. Like the campaign was decent, yeah. I couldn't beat it for a while. Like I wasn't that interested by the story. Like it wasn't all that fun. Like the campaign was fun, like the missions were good. I don't know. It was decent, I guess, but like compared to the first Modern Warfare, it wasn't that great. And like Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, not that good. Like, I really don't like the fact that you can just end the game by getting 25 kills in a row. Like really? Like that's all you have to do to win the game is just get 25 kills? Like, okay, cool. Like, come on. That's just a bit much. Like I've seen like videos of people like noob tubing on Wasteland. They'll just noob tube into the air, get a chopper gunner, spray a bunch of people down, and they'll end the game in a matter of like 2 minutes. Like, come on, you can't just let that slide. Like that's just dumb. But the next COD I have to say on my list would have to be this is tough. This is tough. I would have to say all right. This is really hard because I don't want to do this to Modern Warfare 1, but Modern Warfare 1 is a fucking amazing game. But I will say Modern Warfare 1 I'd have to put it next on my list just because, I mean, it's an amazing game. I don't know why I would do this to this game, but I only enjoyed it for the campaign, and it did have a fun multiplayer in the remaster, but the campaign is so good with the gameplay and the story of Captain Price and Soap. But yeah, sorry Modern Warfare, I gotta put you there. But after that, I'd have to go with World at War. I think World at War has the best campaign out of any Call of Duty that has ever existed. I know that's a lot to say, but it really does have a great campaign with the gameplay and the story of Reznov and Dmitri and how they defeat the Nazis. And it's really like the storyline feels so realistic to like the World War, and like it was just really well put together, and you get to fight in like tanks, and there's just all sorts of fun in that game. But I heard the multiplayer in that game isn't that great, and I played custom games one time, and the tear gas in that game is so fucking overpowered and cheap. Like some of the mechanics in that game were just way too unfair. So that's why I put it there. But I don't know. I don't know. I guess you could say Modern Warfare 1 and World at War are kind of tied because World at War had the better campaign, but Modern Warfare had the better multiplayer. So I'd have to say that. The next game on my list is Black Ops 1. Black Ops 1 had the classic zombies, of course. I mean, I always loved it for the zombies. That for its classic take on the zombies franchise, and I love almost all the maps. I mean, I don't have Ascension or Shangri-La, but I loved Call of the Dead. It's honestly my favorite map in all of Call of Duty, and I love Kino der Toten. Yeah. And Der Riese, even though that was from World at War. And World at War did have the original zombies. I do gotta shout out to that. That was good on them to do that. And but Black Ops 1 had an amazing campaign with its storyline and everything that had to do with it. And then but I would have to put Black Ops 2 at the top just because it didn't have as rich of a storyline. The storyline wasn't as great, but it did have a great storyline. And it did also have a great zombies that I thoroughly enjoyed. I enjoyed the majority of the maps on there. Mob of the Dead, Town, not Transit, but like Origins, and Buried, among others. And the campaign in that was actually decent. And that was like the last decent campaign that I liked in the franchise. And then, yeah, and the multiplayer was amazing. I'd honestly say that's my favorite multiplayer. I think that having a good multiplayer can mean a lot for a Call of Duty game. So, you know, that goes a long way. So that's why I would have to say that Call of Duty is my favorite game in the franchise. So yeah, there's my list of worst to best Call of Duty games. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. And if you have, please leave a like rating. And I'll see you in the next one.